folks, Alicia here. Today we are going to be talking about running technique. I got tons of questions on running technique, and so I figured it would be a good day to tackle it. And here are my main thoughts on running technique. Everyone's body is different. Some people have longer femurs relative to their lower legs. Some people have hips that feel like they're right up at their armpits. Other people have longer torsos and shorter legs. Finding the perfect stride is more about following concepts or general principles than it is about making you have an exact angle at a certain joint. And when it comes to changing your running technique, and I want to say this before I talk about our main concepts, make sure that you do so slowly. Anytime you change how you're doing an activity, you're changing how it's loading your tissues, your muscles, your joints, your ligaments. So if we make a drastic change and then we load on a bunch of miles onto that change, we're actually increasing our potential for injury compared to if we didn't change anything at all in the short term. This idea of progressive overload, of giving your body a little bit of a stimulus or a challenge and then letting it adapt to that challenge before giving it a bigger challenge, it totally applies to running technique as well. And when it comes to changing that running technique, it's not just about thinking about making your stride different than it is right now. Taking time to think about making your running stride different is actually going to make that run more difficult, and it's going to make you run slower than if you weren't thinking about it. So remember, if you try to make changes to your running stride, you might see a reduction in running speed in the short term. There will be some benefits in the long term. I recommend a three-pronged approach to changing how you run. Prong one is doing strength and mobility work to make sure that those tissues are properly ready for what you're giving them on the road or the trail. Prong two is doing running drills that will subconsciously help you change that running technique and build up strength as well. And prong three is spending time running at faster speeds while feeling smooth. And that is why I love doing intervals with all level of runner, whether you are a beginner, a first timer, or a very elite athlete. Faster running intervals at a smooth intensity can lead to more efficient running, and that rewiring you do with efficient running is going to seep its way into your slower runs as well. So I'm going to have another video posted with running drills, and I have a lot of videos posted about different strength and mobility sessions you can do to help your running. But for today, we are just going to take a look at some running footage and talk about the general concepts we're looking for when we see a runner running. Let's first look at a runner from the front. When we're looking at a runner from the front, we want to see them in a tall but neutral and relaxed posture. We want those shoulders back and down, and we want the eyes to be looking roughly at the horizon. We don't want to be cranking the neck up or looking straight down at the ground, which I see a lot with beginners. Don't be afraid to look up. We want to see the feet landing relatively close to directly underneath the hips instead of having those feet in a straight line or crossing over, which you will see sometimes in some athletes. That creates rotation that we then have to counteract in order to keep our run going forward and our power going forward as well. We want to see those knees working like hinges, so we don't want to see the knees coming in together or going out too far. And we want to see those feet pointed straight ahead, not duck foot or pointing in. When we look at a runner from the stride, the biggest and most important thing we're looking for is that foot landing relatively close to underneath their center of mass. And where that center of mass will be is if you draw a line through the shoulder and the hip to the ground, we want the foot to be relatively close to directly underneath that line. Now, you'll hear a lot of arguments in the running world about whether people should have a forefoot landing or a heel strike. When we look at elite runners, it's kind of a 50-50 mix on how people are landing. It's also very difficult to figure out when people are actually loading their foot. You cannot tell by looking with your eyes if someone is a heel or forefoot striker. What we do know from research is if you're landing with your heel, you're putting more stress and strain through your knees. If you're landing closer to the middle or forefoot, you are putting more stress through the ankle. Those forces have to go somewhere, and so we need to figure out how to share them between the joints. The most important thing that I will come back to, though, is where that foot is landing relative to your center of mass. If we go up from there, we also want to see that the hips are not tilted aggressively forward. forward, called an anterior pelvic tilt, or aggressively backwards like a tucked tail. We want to find a neutral spine because that is going to allow us to extend the hip and use the glutes most effectively to power us forward. So if you're interested in changing your technique to one more like the one I talked about today, then again, 3 prongs to that. Work on your strength and mobility, incorporate running drills into your training, and spend time running fast and smooth in intervals, short chunks where you are optimizing how you feel as you run. All right, have a wilder day. I hope that that helped you and that you enjoy your next run.